This is a door. This is an automatic door. And this is possibly one of the coolest automatic doors in Minecraft. And I'm going to show you how to build one. So let's get started. Let's say this is where you want your door to be. The first part is going to be the bottom one. You are going to place sticky pistons underneath those 5 blocks in order to retract them. And then you are going to place 2 pistons one above the other in order to get both these blocks. You're going to repeat the same process on all 4 sides. So 5 pistons for the closest blocks and 2 double for the 2 others. Once you've placed all of your pistons, your door should look like this. We can now begin the wiring. The door works with 2 redstone pulses, one for every single piston and the second one only for the double piston extenders. In order to do that, you are going to place a block here. This is going to be your input. Then you are going to place a target block underneath these pistons and another one next to this one. You're going to connect both with redstone dust like this. Finally, on the other side, you need to place 2 blocks like this and redstone dust on top. We then need to deal with the double extenders. For that, you are going to place a node block in the corner with an observer on top facing into a full block. On the side of the node block, you are going to create the same shape as me with all the ups and downs. You're going to place a repeater in the middle set to 2 ticks with redstone dust all around. This glass block is needed so that the repeater can't power itself. You can use a slab instead if you like. The bottom part isn't completely finished yet, even if it works. But we need the rest to understand why, so we'll come back to it later. In order to make this side of the door, you're going to alternate glass blocks and redstone like this. It enables to connect all these pistons. For the other ones, you're going to place a target block here with redstone dust in front of it. Now for the double extenders, you're going to place a repeater here, set to 2 ticks, facing into a block and redstone underneath. Then place a block here with redstone on top and another one there with redstone dust. You're going to add a node block here with an observer and a block. The same underneath, node block, an observer, redstone dust, and finally a block. For this side, we also need to add an observer there with redstone on top, a piston facing towards the redstone dust. Here, we've just used quasi connectivity in order to have the full retraction and perfect timing. This side is now done, which means we can take care of the top part. But the problem is that the signal isn't strong enough to reach the top, which is why we are going to use an instant repeater. For that, you are going to place 2 glass blocks like this with redstone on top and a block there. The instant repeater itself consists of a target block here with a piston facing towards it and another one on top with a redstone block. Make sure the piston underneath is activated. I've linked a video in description if you want to know more about the instant repeater. But all you need to know here is that this design does not work with 1 tick pulses used in this door, which is why we are going to add a piston here and a glass block there, a normal one here with redstone dust facing towards it. On the side of this block, you're going to add a node block and an observer facing into the piston. Finally, you're going to add 2 observers and a block like I did. The instant repeater now works with the dome, so you can cover the top with blocks. Then place node blocks next to the pistons with observers underneath facing down into blocks. You can now cover the top with redstone dust except on the pistons. And add a target block on this one and on the other one place a repeater. You're going to set the repeater to 2 ticks. Then add an observer on the side with redstone on top and a block underneath. Finally, add a block there with redstone and the top part is done. Here, the observer acts like a glass block, which means the repeater won't power itself. Now for the last part, you need to make this pattern with a glass block in the corner. Then, on the side, go up 1 block and add redstone dust and a repeater set to 2 ticks. Place a target block on the side with another block above. Then an observer on top facing into a block. After that, we are going to make a redstone staircase like on the other side. Once on top, place a target block there and a block on the side with redstone dust on top. Then you are going to place a target block here with a node block on the side and an observer facing into a block. On top of the target, you're going to add a block with a repeater set to 2 ticks facing into a block with redstone dust underneath and another block on the side. Finally, place a node block there and an observer facing into a block. This side of the door is now finished, which means we can now try the door. As you can see, the timings are not quite right. This is due to quasi-connectivity. In fact, during the closing part, there's a moment where this piston is still extended when it's not powered anymore, which means we need to update this piston at the exact moment where it should retract. For that, you need to add a hopper there with an observer and a normal piston facing down. And now for the other side, you need to add a repeater set to 2 ticks facing into a node block and an observer facing into this piston. Your door is finally done, you can now fill out the gaps.